Most people think that traveling alone is dangerous or lonely. They believe that happiness is only real when shared with others. I used to believe this myth for a long time. I always waited for friends to join me on trips. However, they were always busy with work or family. One day, I decided to stop waiting and go by myself. I booked a flight to a country on the other side of the world. My hands were shaking when I clicked the confirm button on the website. I felt a mixture of excitement and pure terror. My mind created many scary scenarios about getting lost or losing my passport. Everyone around me asked why I wanted to go there alone. Packing my suitcase felt like preparing for a battle rather than a vacation. I checked my documents 10 times to make sure everything was correct. I brought too many clothes because I did not know what to expect. The fear of the unknown was heavy in my chest. I almost canceled the trip the night before because I was so nervous. However, I forced myself to go to the airport the next morning. Sitting on the plane surrounded by strangers gave me a strange feeling. I realized that nobody knew who I was. I could be anyone I wanted to be without judgment. The plane took off and I watched my old life become smaller through the window. My adventure had officially begun. I arrived in the new city late at night when it was raining. The language on the signs was completely different from what I learned in books. I tried to ask a taxi driver for directions, but he did not understand me. I felt helpless and stupid standing there in the rain. This was the first real challenge of my solo journey. I eventually found my small hotel after walking in circles for an hour. The room was tiny and smelled like old wood, but it was safe. I sat on the bed and felt a wave of loneliness wash over me. I wanted to call my mom and cry. I wondered if I had made a huge mistake coming here all alone. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of strange music outside. I opened the window and saw a colorful street market full of people. The smell of fresh bread and exotic spices filled the air instantly. The fear from the previous night vanished like magic. I grabbed my camera and ran outside, eager to explore this vibrant new world. Getting lost turned out to be the best part of the day. I wandered into small alleys without looking at the map. I found hidden cafes that were not listed in any guidebook. I saw local people living their daily lives peacefully. I realized that getting lost is not scary if you do not have a strict destination to reach. One afternoon, I dropped my wallet while buying a train ticket. I did not notice it until a young woman tapped my shoulder. She handed it back to me with a warm smile. We could not speak the same language, but her eyes were kind. That moment taught me that goodness exists everywhere, regardless of cultural barriers or language differences. I met many interesting travelers in the hostel common room that evening. We shared stories about our lives over a simple meal. Even though we came from different continents, we understood each other perfectly. We were all searching for something meaningful in our travels. These temporary friendships felt incredibly deep because we were all open and vulnerable. A local family invited me to have tea when they saw me resting. They offered me homemade cakes and tried to teach me some local words. They did not want money or anything in return. They were just hospitable and curious about a foreigner. This interaction made me feel less like a tourist and more like a welcome guest. Solo travel forces you to talk to strangers because you have no choice. If I traveled with a friend, I would only talk to that friend. Being alone opened my heart to the world around me. I learned that most people are kind and helpful. The world is much friendlier than what the news on television tells us daily. Eating alone in a restaurant was my biggest fear before the trip. I thought everyone would look at me and think I was a loser. However, when I finally did it, I felt liberated. I could order whatever I wanted without compromising. I could eat slowly and enjoy the flavor while watching people pass by on the busy street. I spent hours sitting on a hill watching the sunset in total silence. There was no one to rush me or complain about being bored. I could stay there as long as I wanted. I listened to my own thoughts clearly for the first time in years. This solitude was not loneliness, but a powerful form of freedom. I learned to trust my own instincts and make decisions independently. If I wanted to change my plan, I just did it. If I wanted to sleep late, I did not need permission. I was the captain of my own ship. This feeling of absolute control over my time was addictive. It made me feel strong and capable of handling anything. Being alone helped me to discover who I truly am underneath the masks. At home, I am a daughter or an employee or a friend. Here I was, just a human being experiencing the universe. I discovered that I am braver than I thought. I discovered that I enjoy my own company. This self-discovery was the most valuable souvenir. Returning home felt strange because everything looked exactly the same as before. My room was the same and my friends were doing the same things. However, I felt completely different inside my heart. I walked with more confidence and spoke with more certainty. The shy person who left a few weeks ago did not come back on that plane. I started to appreciate my home and family much more than before. Traveling showed me how lucky I am to have a comfortable bed. It showed me the value of stability after days of constant movement. I hugged my parents tighter and listened to their stories with patience. Distance had taught me to love the things I previously took for granted. My friends noticed the change in my attitude and asked me many questions. They said I seemed more relaxed and open to new ideas. I told them that the world is not a scary place. I encouraged them to book a ticket and go alone. I wanted them to feel the same freedom that I had experienced on my journey. Solo travel is not just about seeing beautiful places or eating exotic food. It is about challenging your fears and expanding your comfort zone. It breaks down the walls we build around ourselves. I promised myself that I would continue to explore the world alone. The map is vast and my life is just beginning.